And then she was just like, no, you don't look like anyone. But then she saw Game of Thrones, and she was like, you know what? You look just like Jon Snow.
And you're like,
And it got so much to the point to where I was at a bar in Hollywood, and these people were like, it was like right in the height of Game of Thrones. It was like just like season maybe 3 or 4 when it was like getting really popular. And these like international people came over and they're like, "Oh my God, Jon Snow, Jon Snow! Let's get an can we get a picture of Jon Snow?" And I was like, "All right, what's a picture?" So I'm taking a picture of these people. They think I'm Jon Snow. They're like, "Come on, let's get an autograph." I'm like, and I started trying to tell them that I'm not Jon Snow.
you should have just gone with it.
No, I tried to tell them that it was not Jon Snow, and then they were like, "Oh, come on, Jon Snow, don't be a dick." And we're like, "All right, fine."
And you're
Like,
like, my brother's dick got chopped off right in front of me. And it fell off and fell onto the floor. Where's the sound effect for that? That sounds like we're on the Friends show.
Yeah, that does sound like, or like the Brady Bunch.
Right? And
Yeah.
like Phoebe's gonna start making a song about someone's dick getting chopped off and rolling on the floor and some picking up and eating it, and you're like, oh wow, that's cannibalism. Okay.
You're hysterical. I'm already having a blast. So how long have you been in the U.S. for? So I think we were talking earlier. You're Russian and Swedish.
Yes.
Right. Okay. All right. Very
Yes,
nice.
maybe.
And you grew up in Russia?
I grew up here in the U.S., thankfully.
Oh, okay.
Because that would be eventful.
Yeah.
I mean, not that it hasn't been eventful here. Because, welcome to America.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, wow. I'm living the American dream.
Quite possibly. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
Because I've always dreamt of COVID.
Uh-huh.
And, some kind of plague to take over that's been made and all that wonderful stuff and the amount of testing I've been through. It's been quite exuberant. And, of course, what's happening, bans and wars. And, it's extremely great. And then, of course, them out taking out my vodka. Bastards.
No, but that's funny because we don't really anticipate kind of like what's going to happen, but then at the same token, like it feels like in the last 5 years, maybe 10, like every year gets exponentially more insane. Right? Like maybe it could also be, I don't know.
Like toddlers and tiaras.
Yeah, I'm 33, so like I feel like I have kind of like an old enough age to kind of see progression of decades, right? Mm-hmm. But yeah, definitely the last 10 years. And maybe it's just my age. Maybe my parents would say the same thing if they were 33, right?
Like rock and roll?
Well, they had like the civil rights movement. They had they were the 70s, so like there was a big hippie movement.
Of
You're
course.
switching from like everybody going to war, and
I was thinking bell bottoms were horrible, but yeah, that too. But then again, Vietnam War was very large then.
Yeah.
We had a lot of protesting, which was unnecessary, but
well, there's like it's so interesting now too with social media because like we get exposure to all the lies that they never got exposure to.
In a massive way.
Mm-hmm.
Because people can also comment on everything.
Yes.
So not only do you
like, share, comment,
get like
subscribe.
a massive induction into whatever BS is out there, but now people can comment on everything and give their 2 cents, and you're like, oh God.
You're like, that comment was worth 1 cent.
Literally, I think that just went to the negative in crypto. I think I'm over it. Can Elon come up with an algorithm to get rid of that on Twitter? I would really appreciate that.
What do you think about Elon taking over Twitter?
I think it's great. I love freedom of speech.
Yeah.
And I love people to be more in the center as opposed to far left, far right. So
yeah.
I think that's fantastic. I think what our Twitter was originally, and hopefully transitioning to, with their bipartisanship and taking people out and whatnot, or even what they did to President Trump. Whether you like him, don't like him, whatever.
Yeah.
A president shouldn't be banned.
No, never.
That's absolutely ridiculous. Freedom of speech, people. That's what we're here for.
Well, I think I don't know if he's still banned, but there was a time period, like even with the Russian-Ukraine conflict, where Putin was still on Twitter.
Exactly, right? It's crazy.
I was like, this guy just invaded a country.
Some of his stuff was quite comical, I'm not gonna lie. So I was thoroughly entertained by some of Trump's tweets.
Oh no, it wasn't just you. It was everyone.
Whether you hate
even
them or
people that
not.
didn't like Trump were entertained by his tweets.
Exactly. He created some entertainment, so
Yes, some very much needed entertainment.
exactly. So it was like, come on, why? I don't know why that made me think of recently what happened with Dave Chappelle.
Oh my
Did you see
God.
that?
Can you believe that they're not even charging the guy that when he came up on stage with a knife?
Did you see? It was like a knife and a gun.
Yeah, a knife attached to
like
a gun.
Bayonet.
Yeah.
It was like a
fucking bayonet. Yeah.
bayonet. It was like, what is this guy? What is it? Is it like the Civil War that used to have bayonets? Am I saying that correctly? Someone can correct me about that. But like, are you kidding me? It's
Bayonet's the correct word, yeah.
It's like a 9mm with like a switchblade attached. I'm like,
just when you don't think that the world could get any crazier, like we just exit a pandemic and a guy charges a comedian on stage with a bayonet.
not only that, but like, it's Dave Chappelle.
Yeah.
It's Dave fucking Chappelle.
Like,
Okay.
well, and then we saw like, so clearly there's no security to get on stages.
Apparently
We've established that.
No.
Yeah, because Will Smith just strutted up there. Like, he didn't have to walk
Right?
by
I would
any.
have fucking barbed wire, an electric field.
Yeah.
I would be like, listen, motherfucker, you tried to get up here again? It's not going to fucking happen. You're going to have like torn skin. You're going to have like burnt crepe skin before you even get up here. You're going to be like limping. You're not going to have the energy to even attack me by the time you get on stage.
Yeah. I mean, well, you know.
Right? You have to have preventative measures. I'm just throwing that out there.
Yeah, or at least a person.
That would be nice too. Now, of course, like after the fact, after he was like bum rushed,
Yeah.
then the guy got fucked up by the bodyguard.
Actually, that was Jamie Foxx.
Was it really?
Yeah. So Jamie Foxx
Jamie
was sitting in the
Foxx?
front row. No one did anything initially. So Jamie Foxx ran up and grabbed the guy, and then obviously all the other security guards came over
Because
when he was in the
someone
corner. But
knows
like,
jujitsu or something because that guy looked fucked up.
yeah, Dave Chappelle's been on Joe Rogan a bunch. You know, he's
Well, there you go.
yeah, he's got
learning-
good
learning
hip
some-
movement, a little
Yes,
dodge.
He's learning some jujitsu over there.
That
because
sure
that
is.
guy's shoulder is completely fucked.
But the fact that you can even run on stage and touch Dave Chappelle
Is a
without
problem.
getting tackled
Yes.
is okay. I mean, and this is coming from someone that doesn't want more security and more shit to deal with, right? But like, how does that happen?
Because someone's an idiot.
Very true. Very true.
Right? You should
Yeah.
always be, I think coming especially as a woman,
Mm-hmm.
and everyone lets their guard down. You should always be self-aware, and someone obviously is not doing their job.
Yes.
Especially, I think, after what we've been through and what's transpired,
Mm-hmm.
someone let their guard down and someone's getting fired or reprimanded.
They better. I mean, if they're not going to charge the guy that.
Or, you know what I'd be like? I'd be like, you see what happened to that guy? Come over here. I'm going to do the same fucking thing to you so that that never happens again.
Yeah.
And then you're going to end up, I'll pay for your hospital bills, but I'm going to do that to you.
Mm.
And then we're even. So that never happens again. You're going to learn your lesson. Have a nice day.
Boom.
Boom. That's how we do it.
Mic drop, and then you drop the mic and then give it to Dave Chappelle to finish the show.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And it works out really well in that case. I like it, you know?
I'm into it. I
Right?
support it.
I guarantee no one's going to bum rush him ever again.
I mean, they did. We should start making examples out of some people because
Yes.
Will Smith got. Not only did they not make an example of them, but they let him receive an Oscar, an award, and they gave him an applause. I was like, wait, did no one just see that he walked
I was
on
like,
stage?
you might as well
Like-
just start playing in the background Lady Gaga's applause song.
Yeah.
And just have everybody else like, oh, that's so wonderful. That's so wonderful. I mean, Chris took it really well, which was surprising,
Surprising, yes.
right? I think everyone thought it was like a rehearsed engagement that transpired. Like, is this for real?
When I saw his face and how he attempted to continue the next joke after that,
Like he
I knew it was
wasn't sure.
I knew it was real because like I've been in front of people talking before, and
Yeah.
like when shit goes off script or when you're like in oh shit mode,
And
there's
like,
a specific face. There's like a specific
it's
oh
like
shit
the
face.
hold your composure
Yeah.
and let's get through this. And then all of a sudden, when he goes and proceeds forward, my wife's name out of your fucking mouth. It was like, really, Will? Really? It's like you don't even know what's going on in your own life and in your own marriage, and yet you have a problem with this. It's like why don't you get your ducks in a row first, pal?
But at the end of the day, the internet will always bring us laughter out of a situation. Have you
It's the
seen
idiocy of society that's just absolute, and then the aspect of that they should have just taken away his Oscar and be like, you know what, Will, we're not going to condone your behavior. You're a complete buffoon.
Yeah. Or, I mean,
what?
I don't really even feel so bad letting him keep the Oscar, but I think allowing him to go up there and make that speech where he didn't really even apologize, what the biggest person that affects is it affects the Williams sisters, who like, this is like the only night that they're going to have a chance to like win an Oscar and to get that attention because they're athletes, right?
True.
Unless they like start an acting career. And they won. The movie wins.
There you go.
And all this shit happens. And then it's that entire Oscar forever will be clouded by Will Smith slapping Chris Rock.
So
no one will
I
remember
think they
the
should
girls.
place Will Smith in between the Williams sisters and then just have a slapping match back and forth of
Oh,
Will
that's a
Smith.
good idea.
Right? And tape
That's such
it
a
and
good
then be
idea.
like, send it to Chris and then he'll feel so much better and be like, there you go. There's the public humiliation tape you've been waiting for. We're going to place it on the internet and we're really sorry about what happened, but we took care of it. We got you. There you go.
I like that idea.
Right?
Yeah.
And I would watch that. I would have been like, yeah, because they have a backhand.
Yeah.
You know they have a backhand. But I want to also hear the grunting. I want like full out like
Oh, yeah.
slapping Will Smith's backhand grunting.
Like those women tennis
yes,
friends. Like,
yes, yes, yes. That's what I want to see on Will's face. It would be fantastic, like glorious. And you're like, ooh, god damn. He's never gonna say "get your name" out of anyone's mouth ever again.
oh my! Did you see so you know how the internet makes like compilations, or they
Yes.
take something that's true and they cut it up and then they reorder it. Mm-hmm. There's this one I saw where instead of it saying "keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth," it says "keep fucking my wife's mouth" over and over again. And then Chris Rock goes, "I will. Okay, fine. Jada, I'll see you soon."
Oh my god! I think there's also one where, you know how Jada does the round table or red table.
No. What's this? Is this more of her sorcery shit? Because
Yes.
I'm starting to think that she's a fucking witch. Like,
I
I'll
think
go
she's
into.
I think she's just deranged.
I don't know. My buddy brought this up as an idea, and I'm not like a spiritual person, but I'm spiritual, but like not a religious person. But I'm starting to buy into this. Like,
Maybe deranged is too strong of a word. She's a woman who's in dire need of some mental stability.
you don't think she's like taking Will Smith's hair and like doing some weird
What
shit? And,
what
like,
hair? He's losing it from all the stress.
yeah, because she's cutting it all off to make him go slap people on stage.
she's
He
like
was
baking
laughing
it
at the
at
joke
night.
until she looked at him. She looked at him like the death stare, and then he just like became a different person.
He's like, oh damn, okay.
Why are so many actors like Will Smith and Johnny Depp, who could have a pick of anybody on the planet, choosing these women?
Well, look at Hollywood in general. Let's be honest.
Good point.
Society in general and Hollywood in general have just gone downhill. And not that Hollywood's ever been uphill per se, except for maybe in the 1950s.
There was
40s,
there was
30s,
a golden
20s.
era where like the
Yeah.
primary form of entertainment was movies.
Yeah. Which was much better, and society was much better, and they had much better values. But today's day and age, it's just gone downhill, and it's only gotten worse. And Hollywood is just a complete, utter mess. I mean, look at half the stuff that comes out of their mouth.
Yeah, why do you think
garbage.
why do you think Hollywood's a mess? Is it a corporate thing? Is it a people thing?
I think it's a mix of a lot of things, actually. It's society as a whole. It's the family values. It's what we've fallen away from as a nation as a whole. patriotism, things of that nature. So many things as a family unit, whether people believe it or not.
Yeah.
It's true. Mm-hmm. What worked as a nation and kept us strong worked. Disagree, don't agree. It's in the statistics and has been proven. So it is what it is. And people want to go away from that, from the family unit that was created on Judeo-Christian beliefs, on capitalism, on things that made this country whole, on patriotism, and we've fallen very far away from that. Mm-hmm. And it's just been very destructive.
Yeah.
And so raising that, look what's happened. It's a mess. Divorce rates are high. No one knows what loyalty is. It's just a mess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then people can't even think for themselves or do their own research anymore. They just believe like a beehive mentality. Like
yeah, or they claim, or they just tell everybody else to do their research.
Yes.
Like instead of anybody having a nice, happy conversation with someone, they'll just be like, "Don't you know that this is this? Do your research."
Or everyone gets offended.
Oh yeah.
Everyone gets offended. What's funny is like, listen, I grew up in private school. You got offended a lot.
Oh yeah.
Okay. You got bullied. You got offended. You weren't handed out participation trophies, and now it's like you can't say anything to anyone, even though we're supposed to have freedom of speech. It's like, oh wait, I'm so sorry. You got offended. Forgive me. Wait. The sky may look blue, but you said it was green. I'm sorry I offended you.
Yeah, no, well, you I'm sorry. You can identify with whatever color you think the sky is.
But it does. But some things are facts. Are facts.
Oh, that's true. Like,
it doesn't matter how you feel. You can't base things on an emotion, and that's the problem. You can't base things on emotion. Statistics are statistics. Facts are facts. And whether they offend you or not, I don't care. And if they offend me, who cares?
Don't you think we're drifting away from like having a central source of truth, though?
Oh, absolutely. And reality. People have fallen so far from reality. It's not like Elon Musk trying to make science and going to Mars and colonate. No, these people are so far off. They're like in a sci-fi movie where nothing in reality actually exists.
Yeah, but it's kind of like evident in all the flat earthers that you see on YouTube, right?
Oh,
where like. Where you're like, but like, there's always been flat earthers, but like, it didn't like, it didn't evolve.
Absolutely insane. It doesn't even make sense.
Yeah, you would think something like that would be really popular, and then as people consider evidence or get more mature, like that thing would slowly deteriorate as a theory. But
no.
The more science
hold on to it so hard. Like no, for the love of God, it has. And you're like, you know what? Why don't you go to find some edge of somewhere and jump off and find out if it's flat Earth?
Well, just keep running, bro.
Yeah, why don't
dude get a motorcycle?
Why don't all of you do your experiments and find out? I don't know what to tell you. Go enjoy yourself in flat Earth. Welcome. It's like, where do people go to school? Like, I know the educational values have declined quite a bit, and they probably don't even teach history anymore. I mean, I have to refresh myself in history nowadays, since sometimes they're trying to rewrite it and whatnot, or teachers don't even know what they're teaching, or they don't want to tell students what reality that has actually transpired in the past is. But these people sometimes are ludicrous.
Yeah, no, it's
insane. And I'm like, wow. I'm like, do I need meds? I'm like, maybe I do.
But,
you know, I'll take them anyway.
Just leave them here. We'll see.
I'm good. That's fine. It's fine. But it's so funny how society has transpired and changed so much. It's definitely something to observe. That's why I enjoy people like Joe Rogan and other people who are, not only entertaining, but can have a conversation whether you agree or disagree. It's really great just to debate or hear, or some people who actually can talk facts and bring out the truth. It's fantastic.
Well, even just in the most simplest context, if what I love so much about kind of like podcast and just the environment that we have to get the information out there is just the ability to ask questions.
Yes.
Right? Because like I think like up until recent, it's been a lot of people telling people what is the truth, and then those
Absolutely.
people buying into it, right?
Oh,
but now
true.
we have the ability to ask questions. Be like, hey, why is this the way it is?
Yes,
and
be
someone
inquisitive.
will give you an answer, and then someone else can say, well, I don't know if that's right, right? Like,
Exactly.
Like we have this like giant initiative now to create a Bureau of Disinformation.
Oh, absolutely.
Which sounds like I'm sorry, but it sounds like something out of fucking Harry Potter.
Right. Or
Like,
Men in Black.
Yeah.
could
Or
be
like
Men in Black.
1984 or something. Yeah. It's like out of Harry Potter or 1984, and they're like, well, we're gonna decipher what is true speech. We're gonna tell you.
Right?
We're gonna tell you the truth. You
Who
guys haven't
do
had
you
truth.
work
We're gonna give you
for?
some truth, okay?
Like the Ministry of Truth. Everyone,
Yeah.
Why didn't you create this before? It's like, wait, who do you work for? And
Oh yeah,
I'm like,
that's the punchline. The punchline is the biggest peddler of misinformation has been the government historically.
it's just so crazy, and it's like, what is happening? It's like, am I in multiverse, metaverse?
Not
What's
yet.
the correct terminology these days?
Yeah, not yet.
It's like,
That's right around the corner.
Right?
That's happening.
and then you hear all about the weird stuff going on there.
What weird stuff have you heard going on in the metaverse?
Can I say?
Yeah. Tell me. I'm interested. I wouldn't have asked.
Well, I hear like some things that are theorized in regards to the adult industry, and I don't know if it might be even happening now. I don't know for sure, but some people are like, oh, I can be hired to do adult things in the metaverse now, and I'm like, well, that's interesting. Like, you're talking about porn?
Yeah, is it like POV porn
Yeah,
that they're doing?
I think so. And I'm like, well, that's interesting in the metaverse. So there's like you in the metaverse doing POV porn, and I don't know why that's hilarious to me.
No,
But
it sounds like a great idea. So we actually, we had thought about this like with some of the other OnlyFans models I was working with, and so we actually tried a while ago to do this was before the metaverse talk.
yes,
Still only like 3 years ago though, so not that far away.
Yes.
Right. But we would try to do like the head cams with
Yes.
the POV. That works fine if you're just like a person watching on your
Okay.
screen, right?
Yes.
Because you're just sitting and watching on a computer screen. If there's shaky camera movement, oh whatever, it's like the Blair Witch Project, right? But if you're putting your, how the Blair Witch Project had the
wait,
shaky
that might
cam.
turn into like the Walking Dead porn where you're like, oh god, this is so hot, and you're like, oh god, shit, fuck, that's not what I mean.
Well, no, The Walking Dead was like filmed professionally.
That is true.
Yeah,
That is
yeah.
true.
But like where I was going with this is like, if you put on a headset
Yeah.
and there's camera movement around, you get motion sickness.
Oh.
So
So
like
equilibrium gets off.
in porn, what the guy has to do to make this successful until there's a way of you not getting motion sickness
Yeah, for
is he has to
stabilization.
literally lie like a fucking board, completely
Oh, no.
still,
I'm
and not
fully-
have any pleasure whatsoever. So he has to maintain a full erection, be super hard, not move, and not groan.
It's kind of like VR.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah, the VR metaverse porn.
Because in the majority of VRs, there's only like one company so far that I've interacted with where it wasn't quite like that. Most of them, you can't really engage. It's you talking to the camera. Like Johnny Five. Hey, Johnny Five, how are you? Hey, baby. And they just stay pretty much explicitly still in the majority of positions. And then depending upon if you're going to do, doggy or whatnot, then of course,
Well, yeah, he has
there's
to-
some movement
Yeah.
there. Like, hey.
So you did a VR porn?
Oh,
Or-
yeah.
okay.
I've done quite a few.
And do people watch that on their phones?
I've
or-
watched it.
Okay.
I've watched my own.
Oh, you've
I've
been
watched
you've
my
been the
own.
guy in your own porn?
Yes, and
That's
it's
awesome.
great. It's so great. I have to admit, it's quite an experience.
I want to hear about it.
Yeah,
Because
so-
like women always tell me, or I always tell women, put yourself in my shoes.
Yes. And it's great because I was like, oh, I've got a six pack. I'm like, hey. I was like, wait, I got a cock. That's new. It's not like a strap on. I'm like, hey, all right. I'm like checking things out. I'm like, oh, there's me. Oh, my hair looks good. I'm like, all right, that's nice. I'm like, oh, my tits look great. Ooh, I'm like, oh, wait, there's two more chicks. I'm like, ooh, her hair looks good. I'm like, look at her titties. I'm like, hey.
And you didn't get motion sickness?
No.
No. And you had a
Not
headset
in the
on?
airport. Yes. I mean,
Okay.
I was stationary sitting down, so
Okay.
I wasn't sitting up. But I was
But then they
stationary.
filmed it really good then.
Yes.
Because camera movement combined even with sitting down could cause motion sickness.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now I have done VR with games like Star Wars, and I got sick.
Yeah.
And I was like, whoop, not for me. But I was standing,
Yeah.
so that's not my forte.
Yeah.
But VR porn is actually pretty good.
All right.
It's
Well,
pretty good.
yeah, I'm gonna have to look into that then, because we tried to we thought about it, we're like, oh, metaverse is launching, like let's
Yeah.
do this kind of stuff, but then we were like we started looking at some of the ops that were making
Yes.
like us sick, and I was like, man, this is gonna take so many camera angles to do this correctly, because like it was for one girl that wanted to do like an OnlyFans type of thing.
Yeah.
You know, we were like, I shoot some photography and do some stuff too, and like we were trying to just strategize.
Maybe, you know how there's the GoPro 360?
Mm-hmm.
Well, you can turn that into VR.
Oh, cool. You stitch it all together?
Yeah,
Okay.
you can actually put lenses on the back and just get like the full kind of like 180 rather than going all the way so you don't see the guy behind you.
Mm-hmm.
So you can put the lenses on, make that VR, and if you use a stabilization, maybe that would work. Because I was actually thinking about trying it myself to see how that would go. And then the guy can just stay stationary, and the girl does like her positions first. So you could keep that stable, and then he doesn't move, and you just sit it in front of him.
Oh, so where would you put the GoPro 360? Would it be
Like
above
right,
them?
yeah, it would be like right in front of his face, right here,
Okay.
kind of like here.
When he's laying down.
Well, he could be sitting in a chair.
Okay. So wait, he's laying down or sitting in a chair when he's looking down at his dick.
It's better for him to be propped up.
Okay. Propped up. Yeah. Kind of like a adjustable bed.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or in a chair, something of that nature.
Propped up. So he can look straight, and then you handle all the female positions with him in that one thing. You cut it. You move him to standing position. He stays still.
You reposition the camera,
Yeah.
etc., and that keeps it stable. So I think that
There we go.
would work. There you go.
Well, we'll go
There you
back
go.
to the drawing board. Between you and Angel, I've learned so much about photography and videography tonight. Jesus Christ.
You just never know.
I love to learn, so what am I going to do? So tell everybody kind of like how you got your start. Like, how'd you get into all this? Because we just met, but like the premise of this show really, when I started out, was like, I just want to highlight all the unconventional methods that my generation is using to become successful, right?
Absolutely.
Because like I definitely bought into the hype of needing a quote unquote real job until I realized that there's no such thing as a real job.
Not anymore.
It's just being extorted versus not being extorted. And whether or not you want to be paid well enough to be extorted.
Oh, and
It's
I
kinda
miss those emails, from Kenya that used to be like, hi, please send me money.
Uh,
And you're like, oh, sure, I'm so sorry. I'll send it right over. Wire transfer? No problem. Coming now.
Careful, that's like another Tinder swindler.
I know, right?
Did you see that documentary?
I didn't, but I heard enough about it that was quite a bit. And then I think later on he tried to say in videos that he was not indeed a Tinder swindler. He's like, no. He's like, no, I didn't swindle.
I didn't
I'm just
swindle.
A guy.
They gave me the money voluntarily. It's like-
Exactly. Exactly. And I have this beautiful girlfriend. Look at her.
her name's Clout.
And I'm just like,
She's literally. I'm obviously speculating, but I would guess that the girl that's with the Tinder swindler right now is only there for clout. But who knows? Maybe
I'm gonna say
she loves the
she's
guy.
also there for the money.
Yeah, she might love that too. Maybe he's turned a leaf. Maybe he's on Hinge now.
Right? I'm just gonna throw that out there.
That's still
that five
championship.
was it that 5 minutes of fame?
Yeah.
5 seconds these days. I don't know. Maybe there's been like a diminishing returns in regards to that. With all this stuff going on. And she's like, no, baby, I'll take over.
Yeah.
Or maybe she's the mastermind behind it all. And now that would be an even better documentary.
Yeah,
it actually wasn't him. It was her.
They should just honestly, now that everybody's gotten refunded and everybody's okay, they should just make like another one, but don't tell anybody that's a fictional story, and just make it go much, 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 much
Right?
deeper. Because I was talking about this with my friends, and they were like, you know what? It's like it's like guys pay for girls to go on all this shit all the time, and there's plenty of swindling going on.
Oh yeah.
The one time a guy gets some money from a girl for a watch, it's a Netflix documentary.
But I think it's because it's not just because he did it once.
He had a con
multiple
thing
times.
going for
Yes,
sure. Like
absolutely.
for sure had a con thing going. I was actually surprised though how many people bought into it.
Right. What I don't understand is what kind of methodology and how dumb are these women?
Well, that's what I was saying, because like,
No offense, but it's like, oh yeah, baby, take my money. And no offense, he didn't look like a male model.
no, but I mean, like, there's very few people in my life, and the few people that this does apply to, I've been like best friends and family.
Yeah.
So there's a long history, but I would never take a loan out to give people money. Like,
It's like, are you dying?
because if someone,
Is the mob after you?
yeah, if I'm drunk and I buy a bottle, it was like, oh shit, okay, that was a mistake, right? Like
Exactly.
someone swindled me into buying a bottle,
Exactly.
right? But like when you actually have to make a decision to go get a loan, and you thought all
Yes.
this out, and like someone even thinks you're mature enough to give you a loan, but you're
Like, oh, I gave you all my 401k. You're like, why would you give this man your 401k? Why? Like, here, oh no, I gave you everything in my, my IRA, my 401k, my health savings account. And you're like, why? Like, I even gave you my inheritance from my deceased grandparents. And you're like, wait, hold on a minute. Why? Can you, what on God's green earth did this man say to you? Where you're like, here you go, baby.
But his enemies were after him. Okay.
I would have been like, then you're going to die. And I need proof of life. And
Proof of enemies.
I need something.
Yeah.
Because I'd be like, no, you got yourself into this. You got to get yourself out.
That's wild. All right, let's talk about you a little bit. Tell me about how you got in. You were a published Playboy model,
Yes.
right? Yeah. What were you doing before that though? Like, how did you start modeling, or did you go straight into
I was
adult?
in the Russian mob.
Okay. Start there.
Right? Like the Yakuza.
Eastern Promises, great movie.
Right?
Yeah.
I was actually watching Tokyo Vice. Have you seen that yet?
I saw it on like the things that you should watch on HBO,
Yeah,
but I
it's
haven't clicked
worthwhile.
on it. Is
One of
it?
the best shows I've watched in a long time.
Okay. I will check it out because I
Yes.
think your recommendation holds water with the.
Hopefully you have a cup to hold the water in.
No, yeah. I mean, like, I'm not going to have a plastic bottle. Come on.
No, actually I started adult modeling originally.
Okay.
And
what age were you when you started that?
Like 2. Like straight from the womb, I was like, I'm already naked. I'm
Boom.
here.
Don't put clothes on me ever.
Right? I'm like, might as well. Forget the Pampers. I'm going straight in. But it was those private schoolgirl moments.
You did mention the private school. I feel like that has something to do with it.
I think a lot of people in private school always have those ideas in their head that things happen, and maybe they do, maybe they don't.
Do you think they have those ideas because they're being hidden from those ideas so much?
It could be. I mean, most of them, are religious schools, and we wear uniforms. Sometimes there's punishment involved. Sometimes there isn't.
I mean, yeah. So here's the real question: Was it the Catholics? Was it the Catholic schools that created porn scenes, or was it porn scenes that created Catholic
Right,
schools?
the chicken and the egg.
Yeah.
What happened first? You never know, because, I guess you could put it this way: it could be the private school that did it first. There just wasn't a camera around to capture it.
Good point.
Right?
Solid point.
Because it was before cameras probably came around, and private schools have been around for a very, very long time.
Yeah. Well, it probably started with private schools. Then they breeded all these young porn stars,
Right.
And then all these young porn stars came fresh out of private school,
Exactly. We just
ready to
didn't
go.
We just didn't realize at the time.
And then they
that
show
that
up
could
and
be a
they're on the
possibility.
casting couch, like, okay, Tiffany, what can you do? Well, I've always had this dream of.
What did you want to be? Oh, I don't know.
One time I got slapped with a ruler and.
It felt good, and I liked it. What?
All right, John, we got our scene. Let's go. We'll set up and do it tomorrow.
We're gonna put her in a uniform right now. Someone slap her with a ruler.
Have you ever done a porn scene in one of your school uniforms?
No, I have not, but maybe I'll do it for my OnlyFans.
Oh, bring it back. Little throwback. That'd be nice. Yeah.
Bringing it back.
There you go.
I did wear like these little suede shoes, and I had like socks, and I actually liked my uniform growing up.
Yeah, I mean, like
I liked it. Made life easy.
I didn't necessarily like it, but what I did like was never thinking about what to wear.
That is true, but girls I think had more options than boys. Like we had a couple skirts to choose from, and then sometimes on Friday we could wear shorts.
Yeah.
Ooh, wow.
Yeah. No, you guys definitely. I mean, but granted, girls should have more options.
It's true.
Because they're gonna care about more options.
It's true,
Yeah.
and we had a couple different colors tops we could wear. So
Yeah.
we had a couple different things we could do. Wow. So exciting. Oh, should I wear the plated or the regular?
You're like, I haven't gotten khaki in a while. This might be a khaki
Oh,
day.
I don't know. Or should I do the navy blue? Throw a coin. I'm gonna do the pleated. I'm gonna do the pleated. And it was a whole and it's true. We did roll up our skirts. We did. But there is a story about that.
Tell me.
So of course we had stairs, and the cement stairs weren't covered. You could like see through. And there was this boy who'd always used to look up the stairs up girls' skirts.
He had it figured out.
He did.
Man figured it out early.
So I was really annoyed and had enough of it. And he kept doing it. I would tell the teachers, other girls complained, and I was just like, you know what, that's enough. And one day, he was literally on the floor of the classroom, just like right here, looking straight up under girls' skirts.
Laying on the floor looking up at that.
Yes.
Okay.
And the teacher wasn't doing anything about it. I'm like, I'm just like looking around. I'm like, are you... like kind of like in a cartoon, like, are you not seeing? It's like literally, like, how audacious do you have to be? Like, literally, the guy is just laying there as people are walking by. So I stepped on his balls.
Ooh.
And he cried, and he never did it again.
Well, he's blocking the lane for the fire drill. Come on.
He won't be blocking any lane anymore.
No, he's not. He won't be blocking any lanes.
No.
And I don't think there's I don't think he'll be looking up skirts anymore.
No. Maybe that was a start to my interest in BDSM or dominatrix. I don't know.
Ooh, maybe so.
Maybe that was the beginning. Of things
That
in the
was
future.
the first cry that set it off.
Right?
Yeah.
It was like, you like that? You want some more? No. And I'm like, are you sure? Because I liked it. It felt good to me. Now lick my boot, bitch. No, I'm just kidding.
Stop looking up girls' skirts in class.
And it was like 6th, 7th grade.
That's young.
Right?
Yeah. For laying on the ground.
Yes.
Yeah.
Perverts. Perverts in young grades. It's like when you see them in anime and you're like, you pervert.
Well, the anime and Japanese culture is it's so weird.
It is.
It's purposefully weird.
Absolutely, because also they're nosebleeds.
What's that?
They're nosebleeds.
They're nosebleeds?
When there's a pervert, they see like your boobs or something. Blood shoots out of their nose. Can you imagine if that happened in real life?
That kid looking up your skirt would just be laying in a pool of blood.
Yes. Can you imagine if that happened in real life? You'd be like, oh my God, there's the pervert. He's just covered in his own blood, and you're like, oh my God.
I mean, that would be quite the first date, right? Like
right?
You're just shitting at first date, and someone's like starts bleeding out of their nose. You're like, well, I know they like me.
Yeah, it's a match made in heaven.
How'd you guys meet? Well, he saw me, and then he just started bleeding, and boom. And I knew it was forever.
And it was so fucking hot.
I
took off my panties and wiped his nose with them.
Yeah, that's such a new influencer girl thing to say. Like, I was so hot.
Right? We're bringing back Paris Hilton. Yeah. Didn't she like franchise that or coin that phrase? Copyright.
Oh yeah. That's a trademark for sure.
Yeah, she's getting paid right now just for me saying that.
Yeah, if she wants to come collect the check.
Right.
Right here, Paris.
Here's 20 cents.
Yeah.
Dear. I don't know. I don't know how much it's worth anymore.
Who knows? Yeah, we'll find out.
Right? All of a sudden, she's like sending you a letter. You're like, oh God, it could happen.
So you went to private school.
Yes,
Then after private school, you grew up here in the U.S.
I did.
Mm-hmm. And what did you decide to do right out of school?
I went to college for a while. At some point, I thought I was going to be a petroleum engineer.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Gas OnlyFans. They're both expensive.
Ooh, nothing like fracking. So sexy.
Keep pumping that gas. Pumping that
Oh
gas.
God, it's so hot. But I realized the more research I did in regards to that and how much it was going to cost me at the end of getting a degree was not worthwhile.
No.
And so I switched to business management. And I figured that would be more useful because I wanted to run my own company. And since you are literally your own business, being in this business, that it was much more to my liking. I also thought about being a computer engineer at one point too.
You were really dialed in.
I really did. For some reason, there was something about it. I was like, oh God, that sounds so great. And I was like, I'm never going to use that degree. Let's be honest. I'm never going to use that degree.
Well, yeah, you'd have to go full balls into,
Yes.
or just full bold move into that profession, because like it's not the degree that makes you a good coder.
No.
It's that you love coding all the fucking time.
Well, what's interesting now is that you don't even need a degree for anything. You can literally be like the school of YouTube, pretty much, to train yourself.
Yes.
Or nowadays, depending upon what career aspect you can choose, you can literally have a skill trade, have your own business, and make six figures. So it just depends on how you go about life. And that's what's great about it. Mm-hmm. Yay, capitalism.
So it sounds like you've had a very positive experience in the porn industry, because
I have.
because
there aren't some weird moments.
Yeah, but I honestly do believe that there's kind of like two different types of girls that have experience in the industry. The ones that feel like they got fucked over or manipulated every turn in the road, and then there's the ones like yourself and a few others that I've talked to that are like, hey, like I went and studied business management. I already knew I was going to be my own boss, and they kind of went into this with a business mindset and had no problems.
Well, I'm still learning, don't get me wrong. I'm still learning about the business and about social media, especially since all this has transpired. Because when I got in, boom, right after that, COVID happened, which I was been extremely busy since then. But lots of things keep happening and changing. The world keeps changing. So it's been quite interesting. But I think also because I got in at a later time in my life and not like in my early 20s.
Yeah.
So I knew had a better understanding what this business was like, as opposed to, girls are getting in like at 18, 19, 20 years old who don't know anything about life.
Yeah, or they're like dating within the shit and like moving around and
exactly. They and let's face it, a lot of your relationships in your 20s don't last.
Sure don't.
Exactly.
Mine did it.
Ooh, that sounds like a story.
No, it's just I'm 33 and still single. Burn through them all.
Like Burning Man.
Burn through all my girls at Burning Man.
Oh jeez. Did you like throw them in the temple like goodbye? Did you bring like that little box, like the box of their items?
Have you been? You know a lot of the little small details.
I do. What can I say? I do research sometimes.
You're good at it.
I've been curious about Burning Man, and I would actually like to go sometime.
You should come with us.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm down.
I go every year. So this will be my fifth burn. And yeah, we run a camp there. We have an infrastructure. We have 2 ARC cars with our camp.
Ooh.
So that
Is it like Mad Max?
Kinda, yeah. So yeah.
If you build it, they will come.
Well, so here's what's interesting about Burning Man, and there's so many purists.
Yes,
with everything, there's always fucking purists.
Because there's also no garbage cans, right? You have to.
Yeah. But you know what's ironic about that? They don't have one fucking garbage can in all of Burning Man, and there's no trash.
That is interesting.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
You go to Coachella where there's a fucking dumpster every 5 feet, and there's still fucking trash on the ground.
That doesn't make any sense.
Well, it does make sense, because when there's no trash,
bunch of lazy fucks.
When there's no trash, everybody is committed to cleaning up their trash.
Yeah.
When there is trash, as soon as you throw it away, it's not your problem anymore. That's the difference.
That sounds like society.
Well, yeah. So that's why Burning Man says no. You take it in You bring it
You
out.
bring it out.
No matter what it is.
You
So
know, it's like Japan.
yeah. And you know what? Like Burning Man works for like a smaller civilization. Like here's a fun fact for you is Burning Man, Black Rock City, where it's being held in the middle of the desert, becomes the 4th largest city in Nevada for a week.
That is very interesting.
Yeah. So it's after, well, obviously Vegas, Reno, Carson, and then Black Rock City.
That is very interesting.
Yeah.
Well, they're bringing some amazing sculptures too there.
Like
the
art
insane.
is the best of the best in the world.
It's
Like
crazy because they actually have to go there and set it up and create it.
Oh yeah. Not only is it the best of the best, but if you've seen sculptures and stuff in cities that you've loved, there's a very good chance that they just buy all these artist pieces get bought after Burning Man and they find new homes in all these cities and places. Unless it's like a wooden art structure where they burn them all down to the ground.
Like Wicker Man.
What's that?
Like Wicker Man.
Yes. Like Wicker Man.
Just there's no person in there.
Yeah. Exactly. And it's very cleansing. You know, it's for a it's a little bit more than a week. It's like 10 days if you do it properly.
Yeah.
And the art is the best of the best there. You see all kinds of crazy stuff.
That's what I love. I love the art and the structures and whatnot.
Yes, and the beauty about it is how big it is. So Burning Man's 15 miles in diameter, right? So it's almost like in the city of it's like Santa Monica in LA, but
So you could play hide and seek for days, is what you're saying.
Oh yeah, no. Like people tell me before Burning Man, like, hey, I'll see you there. I'm like, probably not, unless we have like.
You're like, no.
You will like you can't go and find anyone unless you know where they camp and or what they're doing. You'll still run into people for sure.
Here's a map. I'm located here. Here's a compass. Enjoy.
Yeah, that's kind of how it works because there's no phone service, or there didn't used to be.
Maybe walkie-talkies work. Or can you have those?
Yeah, walkie-talkies, yeah.
See, there you go. I'd be that person, be like, Burning Man 1, are you in? Check.
But I don't know how like, you'd have to have some serious ones with some distance, right? Because, like, I think after you get a few miles.
It dissipates.
Yeah.
The signal does.
Yeah. But it's a great time. It's phenomenal.
I would be down. I think it would be exciting.
Yeah.
I think it would be so much fun.
Yeah, you should come.
Yeah.
Totally.
I'm in.
1,000%. And so, so it's the last weekend of August, first weekend of September.
Okay.
Our first week is September. So
like, I'm marking it on my calendar.
Put it in.
I'm putting it on my calendar
Love
right now. Putting it on right now. See, I'm like, last weekend of August.
Moving and shaking. I love it.
Burning Man. Otherwise, I'll forget. I really will.
Have you been like camping or adventuring before or anything like that?
I have been camping. Nothing too extensive.
Do you enjoy it?
I do, depending upon the circumstances.
Okay, what circumstances would those be?
You know, water.
Oh, okay.
A place to use the restroom.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, normal things in life.
Well, you know, like some girls get to Burning Man and then they're just like shocked that they have to go in a porta potty.
If you gotta go, you gotta go.
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of like in some ways going to EDC.
Oh, true. Yeah.
There's porta potties everywhere.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You just, if need be, you bring hand sanitizer and your own stuff and you're good to go.
You're ready.
You're fine. If I can handle EDC, I can handle anything. I actually went to Miami Ultra, and no offense, but it was awful.
Did you go to this last one?
It was horrible.
I only went for one day.
It's like the bootleg version of EDC.
Yeah, it's not.
Why is that?
I don't know. I enjoy it though. Like it's definitely not as technically fun.
Yeah.
Like EDC is a much more bigger spectacle.
Yes.
Right? Like you gigantic spectacle.
I felt it was a little bit more organized as well.
Yes. This last Ultra was not organized well at all.
It was
but
horrible.
also you have to think they had 2 years at least of no festivals, right?
That's true.
So this is probably all a new staff of people. Like they probably couldn't retain all those old Ultra employees they used to have,
I noticed also that the people, for some reason, weren't as nice as well. For some reason, people at EDC are much nicer and they're very into their costuming.
Yes.
But Ultra people, it's like they rolled out of bed. And I was like, Am I in the right place?
So what
I'm like looking around, and people are incredibly rude. And then if you're dressed in normal, like what I would assume EDC attire, people berate you or belittle you and are demeaning at times. And I'm like, what is wrong with these people? This never happens at EDC. People actually compliment you.
Yes.
As opposed to the opposite here. And I was like, I think I'm in the wrong place.
Yeah, or maybe the wrong stage.
Right?
You know, because like I feel like the DJ dictates the type of people that are watching.
Yeah, it's very
strange.
strange.
Like if you go to EDC and there's like a light up owl and the guy's playing like, you know.
Yes.
I'm gonna lose myself tonight, you know, and then like everyone's just like crying, crying. Oh my God, you're so pretty. Oh my God, you're so pretty.
Like you're so mesmerized by the lights. It's like it hits almost hypnotic.
Yeah.
And people are just like.
What I like about Ultra though is the connection with the city. Like, it's just that full week of like everything. And this last one was not like the prior ones.
So it's nothing like the normal.
The prior ones, like you would walk around in Miami,
Yeah.
and every business would just be living, breathing, dying electronic dance music.
Now that would be cool.
You know, and it was like a full blown festival,
Yeah.
mixed with Ultra Music Festival.
That's nice.
I think a lot of the troublemaking as far as spring break in Florida and stuff,
God, that
kind
is
of like, I think that probably had an impact on how they were going to organize the festival. The fact that they hadn't had one in 2 years, there was probably a bunch of like, because like they didn't have like the right state for like lines and all that and porta potties and all that stuff. Like you could feel there was like a little bit of a gap between like, you know, what the organization.
Oh, absolutely.
But yeah, I mean, like the nice thing about like how Ultra used to be is like you get out of the festival at 12. Yeah. You'd go shower, take a nap or something.
Yeah, and then we're like
and
after parties, right?
You'd be at the club at 3 a.m. for the new DJ, and that would just go on forever. EDC, it's like once you get out of EDC,
you're done.
Oh, you're exhausted, but then you can't find a ride.
Yes.
You know, like
you're
for whatever
for an
reason,
Uber for like an hour.
Yeah, for whatever reason, there was 50 shuttle buses for fucking 100,000 people, and like,
it's like, can I helicopter out of
yeah,
here?
exactly.
It's like I don't care. I'll hold onto the rope dangling from someone's helicopter. Just drop me off somewhere. I don't care. Or the ladder that protrudes down in the movies. I don't care.
Yeah, I'm surprised like EDC hasn't just opened up a third lane on the highway or something.
Right? They need to do something about that because no matter whether you're in Vegas or I think Orlando, it's just insane.
Yeah. Because if people could get back there and back quicker,
yes,
I think there wouldn't be the whole pressure to, okay, I'm gonna go to the pool party instead of the rave, or whatever, you know, like because like I feel like at EDC there's the constant conflict between what's happening in Vegas and what's happening at EDC outside. And what's staying in Vegas.
Mm-hmm. And that would be fun to actually have the best of both worlds.
Yeah, because that's what Ultra used to be. Mm-hmm. It was like music festival with city nighttime. Festival and city like love.
Yes, and that way both could kind of participate and they both could get revenue. Mm-hmm. Right? Because the people are spending money at Ultra, and then also the city would get also revenue from people who also came to see Ultra, and they would spend money at the clubs, which is great because then they would get everything.
Yeah.
And
absolutely. Couldn't agree more.
Takes over, and really the city mainly just gets the hotels.
Yeah, I think EDC is still, and I know this because my old roommate was really good friends with Pasquale Rotella, the guy that runs it. Yeah. And that poor guy has been through. He got the Hugh Hefner book slapped at him in the past. Were you aware of that?
No, I didn't.
This is actually a good time to bring it up, considering Joe Biden's our president. Joe Biden, when he was a senator, introduced the Anti-Rave Act bill.
Oh, that sounds.
And
lovely.
The target of that was all promoters for these raves.
Funny, I'm sure his
and
son enjoyed
Pasquale
that.
got to go to court to fight the Anti-Rave Act and was looking at jail time.
Was his son involved?
I don't know about that. But yeah, my roommate was a good friend of him, and I've seen kind of like all the hurdles that Pasquale's had to get through and finagle just to get EDC to where it is. Like for God's sakes, it used to be in LA and it used to be a madhouse in LA. You know, people were like climbing over
wouldn't have liked
fences
it
and
in
shit,
LA.
and like it was rowdy. He brought it to Vegas and made it
Yeah.
much more magical. Magical is a good word because
think
EDC
so.
really is
It
magical.
is
Yeah.
with all the lights and the.
Yeah,
It really is.
yeah.
It's quite pretty.
Yeah, unlike Coachella or some of these other places, it's really built around like
Yes.
the visuals.
Yes, and which I love because visuals. I'm not gonna lie, make a difference.
Totally, especially on Molly.
Yes. Just like, wait, yes. Did I say yes to that? Did not say it. I plead the fifth. I have no idea what you're talking about.
But yeah, I think that's a big draw. I think they could maybe start doing some stuff to like
Yeah.
to connect the club scene to them now. Hopefully, if they're not coming under too much flack,
Yeah.
you know. But we shall see.
I think they should because I think that.
Are you going to EDC this year?
I am.
Okay.
I don't know about the Vegas one, but I'm definitely going to Orlando.
Okay. Cool. How
So
is
I'm
Orlando?
excited.
I've never been to Orlando.
See, I haven't either because I went to EDC Vegas last year, and I don't know if I'll be able because of my schedule to make EDC Vegas this year, even though I'd love to. Someone wants to fly me out there. Hey,
Hey.
hey.
Your DMs are going to be on fire after this.
Right. But I will be able to make it to Orlando.
Cool.
So that I'm excited about because I've actually never gone, which is funny, but
Yeah. That'd be
the-
great.
As the world turns.
Is EDC Vegas the only EDC you've been to? Or
Yes,
okay.
I was an EDC virgin
Nice.
prior to then. So I got that broken into last year. And it was quite an experience.
Well, welcome to the family.
Thank you.
I'm glad someone broke your rave virginity.
They did. It was quite lovely.
Yeah, I'll take the podcast virginity, leave the rave virginity up to somebody else.
You can take my Burning Man virginity.
Yeah, we're gonna take that too. Yeah.
I'll take that too. As long as I get to wear a furry coat.
Oh yeah, for sure. No, I would never send you out into Burning Man without a furry coat on.
See, there you
Can
go.
we? What?
I don't know, can we?
Oh yeah, for sure. Fur. You wear fur everywhere at Burning Man. You have to almost. At night it gets really cold.
Well, as long as I don't have hairy armpits, I'm good.
Oh yeah, no.
I'm good.
Yeah, you're good.
Good.
Yeah.
That sounds like a segue into weird feminism.
It could be. Do you want it to
Right?
be?
It could be.
Yeah.
I don't understand the whole hairy armpit thing.
Well, my sister, hopefully she doesn't mind me talking about this, but like she went to school at this college called Reed in Portland, Oregon.
Okay.
They are most famous for being the school where Steve Jobs like sat in the back of the class but wasn't enrolled, and he was like learning sans serif and like type fonts.
Yes.
You know, so that's that school.
Okay.
But like they are ultra liberal. Like
course.
it's like the girls have hairy armpits. You know, it's very gender fluid.
Yeah.
kind of
be
vibe.
gender neutral,
Yeah.
etc.
Yeah.
You know, to each his own in that regard, but I don't know if people know this. You are born a certain way.
Yeah, no, I mean, I you're not gonna get any pushback from me on that.
Like, I mean, sorry if that offends you, but you are.
No, but
Whatever you want to choose later on,
yeah,
that's great. Because there's some hot people out there.
yeah, no, and I'm totally on board with like you should be treated
Yes.
however you want to be treated, right?
Yes.
But there should be no fault for people acknowledging.
No, I don't
Like-
think there's anything wrong with that.
Yeah.
Like whatever you choose to be later on, that's fine. But it's a fact. And I don't understand that. I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
No.
It's kind of like you are born with a certain color hair or eyes, or I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Yeah.
It's kind of just like accepting you are the way you are.
Yes. Yes. And well, I mean, like, and also it's like, you know, you can be treated the way that you want to be treated.
Yeah. And that's another thing too. I think kind of like when you grow up and if you don't like the way you are, you change it.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we all do. The same thing. You want to better yourself. You don't like something about yourself.
Oh, that's
you
a really good
change
point.
it.
That's a very
right?
good point.
And I
Most people
think-
don't talk about that
Yeah.
because like you're not born into the successful person that you are.
No.
No.
You know, whether you want to better yourself, you know, physically, you know, business-wise, personality-wise, whatever it may be, growth, you have the ability to change that. And
Yes.
that's all positive. I think people just don't accept themselves enough. in that regard.
Yeah, or I think it's also just like a push for organizations and people to say we need to make everybody feel comfortable at all times.
But you know
but
what?
by doing that, you're actually creating more disorganization.
Yes, exactly. Because sometimes it's good to be uncomfortable, and that's where personal growth comes from.
Oh, totally.
And character growth.
Yes.
It's not easy. It's not easy for me. I don't know who else it would be easy for, but personal growth is not something that should be comfortable.
No.
It's difficult and it's hard.
It sure is.
So anyone who's out like, oh no, let's make this comfortable. It's like, no, life is cruel and it's hard, and that's not the reality.
And also, like, uncomfortableness, if that's a
Yes.
word, is also like a product of humor.
Yes.
Like
That's why I
if you-
laugh at really odd things like funerals.
Are you a funeral laugher? Are you
Yeah,
the
I
one
think
person
I
at
am.
a
Or
funeral
like
that's
really
laughing?
stressful situations. It's like, Oscar, while you're laughing, I'm like, because I am. It's like, okay. It's like, what am I watching? But I can't stop watching it.
Oh no, yeah, Footloose as a foot-focused porn video.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
You like it.
that's a foot fetish parody
Yeah.
waiting to happen.
It's just like a POV of just a whole bunch of people
Yeah, of
taking
peop-
off their socks and shoes.
Ooh, really slowly. Yeah,
Really slow, like in a line.
Ooh, it lined up.
Yeah, like an assembly line.
Yeah, like a foot gangbang.
Yes.
Like,
When no one's getting banged.
yeah, no one's getting banged. They're all taking
Yeah,
off their socks
like very,
and dancing.
Like seductively, like
Yeah, seductively.
even like how like those old school like men's socks.
Oh yeah,
You know,
where
like
they
with like the
yeah.
trousers with like the garter belt, and they're all like. Guys are like salivating, like
Someone's gonna listen to this and make that.
right, and
yeah.
they're gonna be like, "This is the best." Like men and women, just.
Well,
foot fetish
until
video.
OnlyFans, I never had an idea of how popular foot fetishes were. Like I knew they
you go.
exist, but like you get an idea of how much they exist when you see how much money people make selling their feet.
It's just really interesting, right?
Yeah,
It sounds weird selling their feet.
selling their feet.
I sold my pinky toe yesterday.
Is it a bit odd that we find it more natural to be like, yes, I'm selling my dick than selling my feet?
Yeah, it's like, ew, why? And you're like, wait, what? That's totally normal.
Yeah.
You foot whore? You're like, yes. Yes, I am, and I'm proud. I'm not just any type of whore.
A foot whore? That sounds fucking gross. Why won't you just do something traditional like selling your dick?
Right? You're like, no, I'm not that kind. I don't go with your kind. I segregate. And you're like, oh, I'm so sorry. My bad. Pardon me. Do you have Grey Poupon too?
Oh my God, the topics we have covered, the wide array of topics we have covered.
It's so lovely.
Abortion just got illegal
Yes.
everywhere. Well, everywhere that it's not legal already, right?
know,
Or
and-
how does that work?
I have to look exactly what has transpired because I haven't seen the actual documentation
Yeah.
so to speak precisely on. I don't want
Yes.
I don't want to misspeak per se, but people have been in an uproar. That's what's interesting. The
Oh, yeah.
uproar of people actually being violent.
Well,
regards to
like
it. Oh, let's be peaceful. And then you have people like,
well, it's so interesting because for whatever reason, abortion has been like one of the hottest topics.
Yes,
like when I
controversial.
say hot, like controversial.
yes,
And it's always such an emotional issue. I think because one side is literally trying to protect their body,
Yes.
right? So it makes a lot of sense why it's controversial.
Absolutely.
But it also, maybe I'm putting on my tinfoil hat here, but in an administration that has been completely, let's just call a spade,
Mm-hmm.
not doing the best of jobs.
oh no, absolutely not.
Yeah, like despite what your political affiliation is, like
Yes.
this guy's not having a good go of it.
No.
And he's very unpopular right now. Not as I don't think
don't-
he's as unpopular as Trump was, but he's still like I think he's like the second most unpopular.
I don't even think Trump was that unpopular, to be honest. I'm not sure if what the actual statistics were poll wise. But honestly, like, what good has actually happened during his administration? I would like to know, like, factually.
Well,
Because
what I was thinking when this came out, I was like, wait a second, this sounds like, and this is me putting on my tinfoil hat, but I was like, it sounds like this could be an orchestrated attempt at getting people like really riled up and voting in the midterms. Because as it stands right now before this abortion fiasco, there was really nothing that this administration could do to say like, hey, this is why you should vote for us in the fall.
From what I understand, he can veto this, and you would think that his administration would do so, and that he would get more votes in regards to it. That's what's interesting. So whether you agree with what's going on or not, it's still just that. In a nutshell, is kind of weird to me.
Yeah, I don't know the differences between like a bill that's passed versus like amending a Supreme Court ruling.
Exactly.
You know, I think there's.
I'm sure I can Google it right
Yeah,
now.
there's
I'd have
probably
to look
some-
into what actually transpires.
But I guess the take-home message is like everybody thought that something like this would happen under Trump,
Yes.
right? Like
And
that was
don't you find
that
it
was a lot of the
strange?
anger issues against Trump was kind of like something like this might happen.
But no, it's just like, that's cool. Meh. Let's throw another monkey wrench in there and see what happens.
I swear, every day is getting crazier and crazier.
Well, it's just interesting. But now, you have those weird emojis with like the guy who's pregnant.
Oh, what's up with
Did
that?
you see that Elon Musk with the Steve Jobs?
Or Bill Gates.
Or was it Bill Gates? Sorry,
Yes.
my bad. Steve Jobs
Did you know
is
the
dead.
backstory to
Sorry.
that?
Yeah, it was about those texts, right?
Yeah, but you know
That got leaked.
Yeah.
And he was trying to undermine him because he was asking him in regards to his business, right?
Well, what he was asking, it's even much more like
It's
interesting.
much
than that.
more underhanded.
Well, Bill Gates was doing the traditional thing where he goes out and he gets other CEOs or other important people to donate and raise awareness for like things like climate change, right? And Elon asks him, and Bill Gates asks him to get involved in climate change, and he says, "Are you still shorting Tesla stock?" Shorting means like,
And he said
are
yes.
you shorting means are you betting against us?
Yes.
Are you going to make money if our stock tanks?
Yep. And he said
And
yes.
Bill Gates says yes. He's like, well, how can I take anything you're seriously around climate change when Tesla's doing more than any other automotive as far as being green and environmental?
Yep. And he was like, nope, screw
Nope.
you. And then he put that out. And, I would do the same thing. And from what I understand, he didn't leak those tweets or leak that anyway, but I would do the same thing. Anyone who would be against my company when I'm trying to do something good, why would I back that person? Absolutely not.
Yeah, that's like
That's a complete smack in the face.
yeah.
That's a complete smack in the face. But even the way he goes about it has some kind of comedic response is just very entertaining, but also intelligent. And I appreciate that, but also just straightforward. I really do appreciate the straightforward bluntness of that, rather than being shady per se.
Yeah, no, I think it's odd that we look at people that are just straightforward and blunt now as like
Yes.
radical or controversial.
It's refreshing to me.
Yeah.
For me, it's refreshing. I'd rather have someone just be straightforward. So depending upon the scenario, either you fix the situation or at least you know where someone stands.
Yeah.
And you move on.
That's what I love about Florida so much compared to California. So, I was born and raised in California in the LA area. And a big part about that is LA used to be there's always been fake people in LA because people have been faking it till they make it there since the beginning of time.
Yeah,
right?
that's been a motto.
Yeah,
It's like a mantra.
You were going to the West Side or to LA
Yeah.
to make something new of yourself, right?
Absolutely.
So that's been there since the beginning of time. But these people used to be interesting, right? Like they used to be like weird rockers,
Like
or
indie.
or like actresses with interesting roles that they were trying to make, or like
Yeah.
all this kind of stuff. Now it's like just a bunch of
Cookie cutter.
well, not just they're wannabe influencers that just want to be like, okay, what can you do for me? How can everything's like a very attention focused mindset. And it's also very transactional, right? You don't really know who your friends are in LA because no one will tell you if they like you or not. Right.
Well, you almost want to be like just kind of in relationships too and be like, listen, if this is going to be transactional, at least tell me what the transaction is.
Exactly.
Okay, you want this? Okay, so I'm giving you this.
Yeah.
You're giving me this. Okay, good, great. At least we both know where we stand. And if this changes, then
Totally.
this doesn't work for either of us, then we both know why.
Yes. Shout out to all the sugar babies.
Sure.
Sugar babies, sugar daddies.
But
like in Florida, people like I'll come to Florida and people are still superficial. People are still like doing all the same stuff as LA. But what they are doing that LA is not doing is being direct. Like you can be at a party and someone will be like, I don't like you.
I
don't like you.
I don't like you. And you're like,
And it
okay.
doesn't come from a place of like hate or disrespect. It just means if you keep doing what you're doing, I'm not going to like you.
Exactly.
But they're accepting of you when you change.
Yeah.
People in LA just like nod their head, like, but they don't ever tell you if they're bothered by you. They'll just go talk about you behind your back to somebody else's shit. It's like,
yeah, I don't like that. It's very
Yeah.
private school. It's very
Yeah.
adolescent.
yeah, it's what you got out of in private school. Yeah, it's what you left behind.
Yeah, I don't like that.
No.
I don't like that. If you don't like me, then tell me.
Yeah.
And then tell me the reason why.
Yeah.
Because
Or just be like, there's no reason for whatever reason I don't like you. I'd be like, okay.
yeah, I'm like, okay, that's cool too.
I don't know if I can continue to hang out with you the rest of the night, but
Exactly.
yeah.
That's a little odd to hang out with someone who doesn't like you, but
For no reason.
yeah, especially
Yeah.
for no reason.
Yeah, for no reason. For no reason, no. But for a reason, then I might be more intrigued.
Exactly. Be like, well, what is that reason exactly? I don't like your perfume. Well, okay. That's
Have you had a bad perfume?
No, thankfully I never have.
Okay.
At least not that I'm aware of.
Yeah.
But you never know. People get offended by the craziest things. Like, your nails offend me. And they're like, oh, okay. I'm sorry.
You bring up a good point. I was going to answer I don't either, but since I'm in LA, I don't know if I've had a bad perfume or
Right?
cologne.
I mean, who knows? People find the smallest things offensive these days. So you never know. Just by existing and breathing the same air, it's like, I find you offensive. And you're like, thank you. Thank you for letting me know. I appreciate it. I'm going to be going this way now.
Exit stage left.
Exactly. But nowadays, you don't know if that person is hostile or just out of their mind or just strange.
Yes.
That's the problem. That's the difference between, like, back in the day, from hearing stories from, like, your parents and whatnot. They used to handle things very differently.
Yes.
It wasn't like today where people are a little off the rocker, can't handle some normal bullying. I'm not saying there's not extremism, but in normal cases, people can't handle, not having a participation trophy or a little bit of offensiveness, and handling things in what you would consider a normal way.
Yes.
And there would be normal fights in school. That would happen. You get over it, and then you would move on.
Yes.
Whether it would be a verbal altercation or a physical altercation. Okay, you're done. You move on. It's another day. You know what I mean? No one's coming to school with guns because they hate someone. You'd have a fist fight, you would talk to it or the principal, and it would be over with. There's none of this craziness these days, which is very bizarre to me. It's like people can't emotionally handle something that we would consider back then normal.
Yeah, I saw a really interesting meme right after that Mike Tyson altercation on the airplane.
That was hilarious,
I had
by
like
the
a picture of Mike Tyson's face, and it's like social media has made a lot of you comfortable with disrespecting people without getting
Yes.
punched in the face.
It's so true.
Yeah.
Disrespect runs rampant, I think, especially in the younger generations. And I'm not saying that I might not disrespect someone. And if I'm disrespectful to someone and it's actually valid, please let me know, and I'm more than happy to apologize. At least allow me the opportunity to make it right, because that's what a responsible adult should do.
Yes.
Right? But in today's day and age, it's just quite... Thank you. In today's day and age, it's just quite crazy.
Yeah.
No one wants to take accountability for their actions or responsibility. They always want to place the blame on someone else. It's very, very strange.
Accountability is something we don't have much of.
No.
At all.
It's like, it's my parents, or it's society, or it's the other people. Well, you know what? Everyone has had some kind of, their parents fucked them up somehow. Okay, let's be honest. Everyone has had some kind of weird childhood. Mm-hmm. Everybody. No one's perfect. Everyone's had some kind of weird thing happen in their life. Some are worse than others, but we all deal with it. And most of us, in certain generations, are okay.
Yes.
We dealt with shit.
But like
Okay?
it kind of goes back to what you were talking about earlier as far as discomfort, right?
Yes.
It's like discomfort is why everyone ends up okay. It's because they learn
Exactly.
how to actually get through it.
Yes.
Where it becomes scary is when you take away all the discomfort.
Yes.
And then you just see where the chips land.
Yeah, like learning how to self-soothe. Like back in the day, you know, they would teach a baby how to self-soothe. You
Yeah.
learn the difference between when your child was actually in danger or harm or hungry and learning how to allow that child to self-soothe because you can't accommodate them every second, every day.
Yeah.
You know, like allow the kid to eat dirt. It's fine. You know, let him eat a booger. Let him eat some worms. He's going to be fine. He's going to be okay. You know what I mean? Nowadays, it's like, no. Let's antibacterialize every part of his body.
Oh my God, yeah.
You're like, oh my God, no wonder what's wrong with society. Back in the day, we used to get dirty, and then we would do something normal called washing our hands.
I wonder because and maybe I'm just noticing it more now, but it does feel like there's more like hypochondriacs and
Yes.
like and OCD people.
Yes.
And I wonder if that's behaviorism.
Absolutely, and I think it starts from a young age. I do. I think it's societal, and I think it has to do with parent grooming, or what we were calling, you know, grooming in general.
Yeah, I mean grooming is a very broad term, right? Like
Yes.
you know, like Tiger Woods' dad groomed him to be a golf player.
Exactly.
Gave him no social life whatsoever, so he just started banging a bunch of girls.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, it's true.
He dealt with it.
Exactly. Well, he did. He dealt with it many, many times.
But I mean, he got out of it, right? Like, okay, he lost some sponsorships. Like,
Yeah,
he
he
had,
lost his wife.
lost like
Lost his
lost his
family.
wife. I mean, like,
I lost my wife.
did he really lose his wife? She didn't go back to him after that. Like,
No,
okay,
I wouldn't.
yeah. Well, I mean, you know,
It
everybody
wasn't
makes
like it wasn't just like one embarrassment. It was like 19 women.
well, they were all like prostitutes, right? So he's like hooking
don't
up with
know
them
if-
all on the road. And
I
stuff.
don't know if all of them were.
Oh, okay.
I don't know what the facts are.
That
in
makes more
regards to
sense
that.
then.
But still, 19? You have to embarrass the woman with 19 women.
But also, I mean, like,
one wasn't enough.
well, but without discounting, like, you know, victim stories and whatnot. But every
Yes.
time there's a high profile like case, you always
Yes.
get kind of like all these things that never should have been cases coming to the surface,
Exactly.
right? It's like,
Well, it's
so-
kind of like the boy who cried wolf,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
So then it's going to discount all the people who are actual victims, and that's the problem too
Mm-hmm.
in society. So the people who are actual victims, who actually have cases that are profound, you have all these people who are not crying wolf, and
Mm-hmm.
that's an issue too.
yeah. That's kind of how I felt with the Me Too movement is I agreed with the purpose of it and
Yeah.
why they were doing it.
Yeah, but then
but
you
I
have
didn't
all
but I didn't
these-
really necessarily agree with kind of like the Hollywood like
Mm-hmm.
purge. Like let's just go through Hollywood and just purge everybody.
It was
right?
insane.
Like what you need to do is give more time and focus on why Harvey Weinstein's are bad and why
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
all the other people that hid what they knew he was doing, why they hid it, right? Like
him
that
and his girlfriend,
yeah.
who should have been held accountable, and now a lot of it's being buried under, rather than the focus being on all this, so that they can be.
No, they switched the narrative is like, oh, Hollywood was bad and Hollywood was mistreating you but it was like, it wasn't Hollywood. It was like, it was bad people left over from a prior time period where the good people from that time period even operated differently. Right?
It's
like,
bad people doing bad things.
yeah,
and
Harvey
people covering it
Weinstein.
up.
Harvey Weinstein probably saw a couple of his other colleagues be a little too like James Bondsy and handsy with women, but like they weren't raping anybody. And he probably thought, oh, I'll do that. You know, I'll force that myself or utilize my power to get that. And I'm just like,
Well, here's the thing too. On a separate note, that followed the Me Too movement, was that all these other people that came out of the woodwork, whether some of them were actual victims or not, it became like this huge agenda for everyone. And here's the thing, that in Hollywood, a lot of people sleep with directors to get parts.
yes.
So it's like, come on. Okay? That's not a Me Too you slept to get that part to get your way. We all know this stuff happens in Hollywood. This is not Me Too.
It's so interesting though, because sometimes you
This
think
is more like Me 2, Me 3, Me 4, Me 5.
yeah, when I think of like that whole situation as far as like sleeping with people to get parts, I think a lot has to do with it too, of like how the audition process is,
Yeah.
and like how like your face was so much rejection, such a
course.
mountain, right? And then
Rejection's
someone
never fun.
yeah, someone just shows up and is like, I'm gonna put you in Batman. You're
And
like,
you're
all right,
all right, what do I gotta do?
Yeah, what do I gotta do?
What do I gotta do to get Batman?
yeah,
But you know what? And yeah, that sucks. But that's also your choice.
true.
No one made you do it.
Yeah, with the exception of like the cases where he was like,
Yeah.
engaging in criminal activity.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
different.
that's much different.
That's
But
a
I
little
but I
bit
but I
different.
think there were a lot of cases, like borderline cases. Like I think like maybe it wasn't Ben Affleck, but someone like
Yeah.
grabbed a boob or something in an
Yeah. Well,
interview,
there's always-
or like
there's always
they're
those
going in
things
for the
that
hug
happen.
and like and held too long or whatever.
Yeah, of course.
But anyway,
There's always those situations that are going to happen. Where there's always going to be like inappropriate conduct. And that happens, not only in Hollywood, but everywhere.
yeah, everywhere.
There's porn videos made about that. But usually that's not like a victim thing. I mean, well, sometimes it's a victim thing, but it's consensual.
Yeah, consensual.
It's consensual victimizing.
Consensual
That
victimizing.
sounds awful.
It
but
does.
you
It
get-
sounds
you get-
terrible.
You get what I mean. That sounds horrible. Oh, God. But I think there's also appropriate mannerisms in which to handle things as
Yes.
well. But I'm the one who likes to nip things in the bud. So if someone did that to me, I would probably need them in the balls. But then, people have to think about like, okay, what are the ramifications for my actions later on, if I do
Yes.
this to this person. So I don't know. There's always something to think about.
Yeah, I think just people need to be more confident about addressing problems and talking about
Absolutely.
things, right?
I would.
Doesn't mean you need to go up to your boss and tell him, please don't sexually touch me, but you should like have a plan. Like if you're like mistreated, you should have people to talk to, go like
Right.
report it, go through the right channels and stuff. Like
Or make
there's-
someone feel uncomfortable. Be like, oh my God, did you see a mosquito on my tit? Thanks for getting that off there. Oh, that was so kind of you. And then they're like, oh, what? Making someone feel uncomfortable, but letting them know, like,
Yeah.
don't fucking do that
yeah,
again.
yeah,
I think that there are ways maybe to handle things and see how that occurs
yeah,
without completely over embarrassing them, but then they feel a little awkward.
yeah, yeah.
A little wink, wink.
Like it's kind of like that I thought about this the other day actually, and I was thinking about like, because I was thinking about being like bullied in elementary school and like what like good comebacks were versus bad comebacks,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
And like I'll never forget I think it was my third grade teacher who he saw me being bullied, gave me the best comeback ever, and it was, and I don't even remember it verbatim, but I know
Was it your mom?
No, it had to do around the context of like telling them like, oh, like, you're making fun of me so you could feel better about yourself or something like that, right?
Yeah,
Like it was
yeah.
like it was a response that was so direct and just went straight in
Yes.
that like no one fucked with me anymore.
And they're
know?
like, I think usually the people were like, and they walk away.
Yeah.
Right? They kind of made a face. And
Yeah.
like, whatever.
Yeah.
And they walk away, and you're like, yeah, whatever. Yeah. And you're like, hey, that actually worked. Okay. maybe my teacher was right about something.
Well, it's just being direct with people, right? It's like
Yes.
calling out their immaturity for being immature.
Yes.
Call out their misconduct for being, misconduct.
For what they're doing.
Yeah, just call it out. Why not?
Why not? People being inappropriate for what they are and see how they react. I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Do you have to call out a lot of people when doing like scenes and stuff, or do you orchestrate most everything that goes on so it's already kind of established?
I think usually because of the way I handle myself on set, the likelihood of that happening is
Yeah.
minimal.
Yeah, you come in with a very strong energy.
I do.
Yeah.
And I think because I put that out there, I think that minimizes a lot of things.
That makes sense.
So I think that works for me. And so far it has. It doesn't mean that there's not sometimes awkwardness once in a while on set that can make you feel uncomfortable. And you're like, oh, God, okay, well, this guy's definitely trying something. And you're like, you know what, I'm good. Good.
Have you always naturally been like that, or did you kind of just grow into being very direct and stern about how things are going?
I think I learned at a young age in private school. Because you deal with that from a young age where you're forced in those situations. Like sometimes you want to be quiet and peaceful, and sometimes you just learn, like, your father sometimes tell you, like, either you stand up for your sibling or you stand up for yourself, or I'm going to do it for you. And you don't want your father stepping in on certain things. So like, no. I got it. I got it. And so you just learn. You learn the hard way, and some things aren't easy, and so you learn things as you grow up.
Yeah.
To deal with confrontation. And then that's just life.
That makes sense. Were your parents pretty like stern or?
They're very strict
Very stern.
growing up.
Yeah.
They're very strict growing up.
Very strict.
Lovely people.
Lovely people, very strict.
Wonderful people.
Wonderful people, very strict.
Yes.
But like, it sounds like strict worked out for you though.
In some ways,
In some ways, yeah.
In some ways, yes.
Because some of the damage that you can do by not being strict can be permanent.
That's true.
You know, where same with strict though.
It
Like,
can go
either
both
way.
ways. There's advantages and disadvantages.
Yeah.
It depends upon the strictness and what particular scenarios in regards to which they're applied.
Yes. Well, I was reading an interesting study the other day that talked about like growth mindsets versus fixed mindsets.
Yes.
And how like telling or complimenting a child on a result that they achieved.
Yes.
Or complimenting a child on versus complimenting a child on effort, right?
Yes.
Like they did a study where they had all these kids lined up and they said, okay, they all gave them the same standardized test that was supposed to be super hard that they weren't supposed to do very good on. Mm-hmm. When the test came in, they took the first group of students, the fixed ones, and they said, you know, hey, like, this is a really good score that you got.
Yeah.
You must be really smart naturally.
Like,
And they're like, okay, like they're really proud of their natural smartness, right? Then this other one, they said, this is a really good score. You must have worked really, really hard. And so when they ratcheted the tests and made them harder and harder, they found out that the people that they just complimented for being naturally good kind of started to fizzle out, or kind of like they were afraid of being exposed as an imposter, like, oh, I'm not really that smart, right?
Interesting.
Whereas complimenting the effort and saying like, wow, you must have worked really hard. The next time the test got harder, they were like, wait a second, if I had to put that work in to get this result,
this amount,
then like I have to do
more.
So their focus was not, oh, I'm naturally good at this. Their focus is whatever I worked at last time worked, so now I got to work just a little bit harder or learn a couple things to get this new step.
Or sometimes also parents would imply incentivization as well. So perhaps like depending upon the student or child, knowing that maybe they do have natural intelligence, but they still need to apply themselves. Okay, you know, if you apply yourself here, I will incentivize you this way if you can prove yourself. Mm-hmm. So, and some children need that as well.
Yes.
So that they can apply the effort. So it's all interesting.
Parenting is a very, very, very unique job that I don't think many people know what they're getting into before they sign up.
It is indeed.
There's a lot of skill sets you need that you don't know that you have, and I'm not even a parent, and I know that.
Trust me, I know as well. Just through observation,
yeah,
there is so much involved. So much involved.
That's kind of like, that's what kind of like puts me off as far as like having kids, is the fact that I'm like, wait a second, like I know what kind of like selflessness needs to be involved and how much time. To raise a kid the way I know would be like to be them really successful, and so they can have not even to be really successful, they can have just happiness, right? To raise them to be happy, whatever happiness looks like for them, whatever success looks like for them. To get them to that point requires like a lot and lots of not being yourself in a way, you know?
I don't look at it in the aspect of happiness, because up into a certain point of their childhood, you know, if you train them, I think up into a certain extent, yeah, they should be happy. They should be, you know, a normal, innocent child, of course. Mm-hmm. But there also should be parameters involved. So I'm not worried about their happiness per se, because you can't guarantee anyone's happiness.
But isn't happiness like a state of mind? Like, can't
Yeah,
you
but
just
they're a
decide to be
child.
happy?
But they're a child. They're going to throw tantrums. They're going to get upset. They're not going to like you putting parameters on them. But you know what? Tough shit.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
That's why you're the parent and they're the child.
But that's
'Cause
what
you're
I'm
supposed to know better than them. As opposed
was-
to, I think, society flip-flops and they're like, oh, no, let the child decide. It's like,
No, don't let the child decide.
this kid knows nothing about life. He can't even read. You want to let him decide fate? Sure, go for it. Flip a coin.
Well, yeah, that's kind of what I think you voiced it. What I was saying was just like, you know, when it comes down to letting kids do what they want versus you know what you learned
Yes.
growing up, it becomes a balancing act between just getting your message through but not hindering that person.
Absolutely. I mean,
Yeah.
you're going to make mistakes. That's
Yeah.
a guarantee too. Your parents made mistakes. You're going to make mistakes. It's just a part of life. But I think the difference is that if you do decide to procreate, it's your own creation.
Yeah.
So I think depending upon who you decide to procreate with, hopefully you pick the right partner and it'll come naturally to be selfless from what I understand.
And
It's like a natural, you know, inclination to do so. So it's not going to be as difficult because when you look at civilization right now, you're like, oh God, there's no way in hell I'll ever do that for that child. And you're like, wait, that's not mine. Thank God. Okay. Anyway, moving on.
have you heard about these like surrogate parents and surrogate babies and stuff?
Oh yeah.
Are you familiar with that? So
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I knew
Surrogacy
about
always
like
sounds so
I knew about the
great.
surrogacy as far as like you know, them taking frozen sperm and injecting a woman
Yes.
and getting her pregnant. What I didn't realize until recently was the surrogate holders, like the carriers, like how people actually have other people carrying their babies.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they'll take their own sperm, their own eggs, they'll put them in somebody else, have them that person carry the baby, deliver the baby, and then they're on.
Yeah, that's so the women and usually people in Hollywood are people who are lucrative, so don't mess up their bodies, or perhaps they're incapable of doing so. Maybe they
Yeah.
have health issues. But yeah, they'll use a surrogate to do so.
And then I started thinking, I was like, wait a second, I wonder how many famous people are going to start selling their sperm.
Oh God, no, I'm good. I do not want any famous people's sperm.
You don't want the Rock sperm?
He seemed lovely.
You make an exception for the Rock?
Maybe Henry Cavill.
Henry Cavill? Okay.
Yeah, he seems intelligent, smart, and normal. He actually seems normal.
Very nice. I like him. I like
Right?
his stuff. Yeah.
He can actually build his own computer. That's hot.
Ooh, nerdy.
Well, I'm not, you know,
Yeah.
but he doesn't
Yeah.
look nerdy.
No, not at all.
I don't do nerds. Not in that sense.
What's your type?
Taller than me.
Taller than you. Okay. So unique. You're a woman that likes tall
Wow,
guys?
it's amazing. I like stability.
Okay.
I do across the board. I think as a woman, that's a natural thing. From
So like
primal nature, you like someone who's stable, whether it's someone who knows how to manage their finances well, emotionally stability is really good. You don't want someone who's, you know, flipping their lid every 2 seconds. And you're
Yeah.
like, oh wow, emotional vitality. Oh, fantastic. You like the stock market. It's great.
how do you think emotional stability from the standpoint of like just having your shit together equates to like this new trend of like polyamory or freedom or kind of like open relationships? Like, can those two coexist, or do you think they're part of the cut from the same cloth?
Well, I think every relationship's different, so I guess it's based upon the person.
Mm-hmm.
But I think in that regard, if we're talking about men in general,
Yeah.
I like masculinity.
Mm-hmm.
I like people who keep their word and people who are reliable and accountable.
Yeah.
So those things are very important to me.
But like, I
And
guess what I was
should-
asking is like the sex component that people obsess about is
Because
it doesn't seem
because
as
of
it's
my
important.
work.
Yeah, it doesn't seem as important to you as basically the intent and the person behind it.
No, it's not.
Yeah,
I mean, don't get me wrong. You want to have chemistry with the individual, right?
of course.
And obviously, they know what I do as a career.
Yeah,
They should. Like, oh, surprise.
Well, you never know. You could visit another country. God, they don't not on Instagram.
That's true. But
Not
they'll
Instagram.
find out
They'll
soon
find,
if
yeah,
they Google
they will
me.
find out sooner than later. That's for sure.
If you Google, you will find out. Surprise. Like, we'll just sweep that under the rug, baby.
Brush under the rug.
That is not me.
That's the LA thing
That
to
is
do.
not me. Are you sure? No, I don't know who that is.
Did I
But
do
that girl has the same tattoo. No, that is. I don't know. It's this other girl.
What tattoos do you have?
I have, I don't know, multiple on my pelvis and one on my right shoulder. I had to
One of
think
the
about
shoulders.
that on the right
It
shoulder.
gets confusing when you look at it in a mirror. I'll tell you that.
Right? You're
Yeah.
like, wait, I think it's on this shoulder. Yes, this shoulder.
I love tattoos. It became a little bit of an addiction. Once you get past the hurdle of like the first couple, then it becomes an addiction.
Mine are more sporadic.
Okay.
I
Like
don't- I-
meaningful things you got them for? Or like-
Sure. I don't have an addictive personality. So sometimes mine span from like 1 year apart to 5 years to a decade.
Mm-hmm.
So it just
So what causes you to get a tattoo then?
mood,
Mood? Okay.
spontaneity.
Okay.
Like, oh, it seems like a great idea.
So most of your tattoos then you're just kind of like in the moment deciding to get it. It's not like
Yes.
a planned piece of artwork. Okay. Got it. That makes sense.
And I think sometimes it's the best.
I think so too. I've gotten a few spontaneously in the moment. And they're some of my favorites, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong, there's been like artwork that I've salivated after, but I've never planned for them. I know lots of people have done that, like, oh, I'm gonna get this, da da da, and I'm like, yeah, whatever.
Well, when you're doing like
Major pieces, yes.
Yeah, like I've got to redo like my quarter sleeve and do some stuff. So it's like when you're tying everything in together.
Yes, that
like,
makes sense.
Yeah, I want someone that knows what they're doing or
Well, of
knows how to
course.
tie it all. Tie it
Of
all in.
course.
Yeah.
Like, perhaps I would do that one day. But sometimes spontaneity is just fun. It's just fun.
Awesome. Well, this has been absolutely lovely.
Oh, likewise.
Where can people find you? What are you currently working on? Is it just the OnlyFans stuff right now, or?
No, I'm actually starting my own production company in collaboration with Jonathan Jordan. We're
Ooh.
going to actually be doing a sequel. People have been asking, actually requesting, from the other scene that we've done, which we co-directed and I wrote, and I'm writing the script for the second one, which will be hopefully filming this month or next month. And then I'm going to start doing short films with him in collaboration, get that up and running, and then I hope to start my own podcast soon and YouTube channel.
Hey,
Yeah,
let's
I know.
go.
And then I co-host right now Last Call podcast, and then I also guest host on the Alana Love Network as well in New York.
Very nice.
Yes. And so,
What is it like having like a script for porn?
for me-
just what's the writing process look like for that? Like, what does it entail?
for me, it's different because the stuff that I want to create is more based on the storyline as opposed
Got
to
it.
the sex. I kind
I
of
love
want to
that.
bring the like Cinemax or Skinemax back.
Oh, I miss those days.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I want to bring that back, if you will.
Oh, awesome.
So it's more based on the
yeah.
storyline with different stories and whatnot, and then there's boom, sex thrown in.
Love that.
So that's what I'm bringing back. So the scripts look more like that. They're more based
Oh,
a little bit on
perfect.
the
Yeah, so
character.
you're writing like real. You're
Yeah.
writing real scripts here.
Yes,
Nice.
exactly. They're little short films, but that's the fun part. So you get to do like little characters where people can actually get a little bit attached and then be like, oh, holy shit, they're having sex. Oh, that's right. This is technically porn. How did we know?
Well,
and then-
I mean, some of those Cinemax movies
It's pretty hot.
were they were actually
trippy.
really good.
Right? And that's what I hope to do. I hope to do like multiple genres, everything from like romantic comedy to, I don't know, sex-omedy. I don't know, what would you call that?
Oh, that's very interesting.
Right? And to kind of like thriller, if
Yeah.
you will. So just bringing some head trippy stuff to set. And of course, people can find me on Twitter, see Akashova, and IG. Casca Akashova official is my main one. And then that's where all my links are too. So you can find
Oh, very nice. We will direct everyone to your socials so that they can check out your work. And I'd be really excited to see how the premiere of that.
Yes, thank you.
That's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, we'll have a trailer out for that once it's done.
Yeah, send it my way because
Yes.
I want to check that out because I've seen a couple scenes where they've done it where they've tried to like make it more romantic and make it more cinematic, and it's just so missed, right? Like we're in an era right now where it's like girls are slinging their pussies for $15 nonstop, and like we're so attention focused on like content that's no longer than 20 seconds.
Wasn't that Full Metal Jacket?
Oh no, Full Metal Jacket.
That one scene, $5.
$5.
Do anything you like.
Well, that was one scene of a much more grander movie.
Of course, it's an amazing movie.
I'm into that. What becomes a problem is when people try to fit an entire story into a 60-second reel.
Yeah, that doesn't really work. And you're like, oh, that was great. I think I saw the whole movie in the trailer.
Yeah.
Like, okay, that works. All right, let's go see that. I want to pay big bucks for that.
Well, it has been an absolute pleasure. We've loved having you.
Oh,
and
thank you.
We'll have to reunite at Burning Man and have some fun.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. All right, bye everybody.
Bye.